Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. This is a digital lesson, and the lesson starts with explaining what slope-intercept form is. It's one form for the equation of a line, and it's written in a form that makes it easier to determine what the line is on the coordinate plane. M is equivalent to the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. So students are given an equation. One way we can determine the line and what that line is on the coordinate plane is to create a table of values. So we're going to choose values for x, place them in place of x in the equation, and then solve for y. So if x were 1, we'd have 1 times 3 is 3, plus 5 is 8. So if x is 1, y is 8. If x is 0, then we have 3 times 0, plus 5 is 5. And that gives us some coordinates that we can plot on the coordinate plane. So the students are going to be doing that on the next two slides. They're given an equation. They have a table of values. The x values have already been determined. So they're just going to take the x value, put it in place of x in the equation, and solve for y. So if x is 1, y is 5. If x is 0, y is 3. If x is negative 1, y is 1, and so on. So they're going to do that with all 5 values. Now they've got some coordinates that they can plot on the coordinate plane. So we have 1, 5, so we start at the origin, 0, 0. We go to the right 1, up 5. 0, 3, we're at 0, we're going to rise to 3. Negative 1, 1. And if they plot all 5 points, they're going to end up with a straight line. They're going to do the same thing on the next slide. Now another way we can find the line on the coordinate plane is to use the y-intercept and the slope. So with the y-intercept, that is the point where that line crosses the y-axis. It's going to be the coordinate 0 and then whatever this number is. If this were a fraction, it would just be 0 and then the fraction. Now, once we have one point on the coordinate plane, then we're going to use the slope to find the second point. And once we have 2 points, we just have to connect them with the line, and we have the graph of our line. So the next slide, all they're going to be doing is looking for the y-intercept and the point that they can graph to start their line. So here, if the y-intercept is 7, it's going to be the point 0, 7. If the y-intercept is negative 4, it will be at the point 0, negative 4, because it has to be on the y-axis. And they're going to complete that. On the next slide, we're going to be looking for the slope. So on each of these equations, students are going to type in the slope. Here we have negative 1. So we want to turn this slope into a fraction. And we do that just by placing it over 1. Now when you have a negative slope, that means it's going to move down from left to right on the graph. We can place that negative symbol on either number. So if it's a fraction, negative 1 over 1 or 1 over negative 1. It doesn't matter. It's going to work exactly the same. Now here we have a slope of 3. If it's in fraction form, that's 3 over 1. So we're going to rise 3 to the right 1. Here the slope is negative 2. So we're going to rise, means which direction. If it's a negative, that means we're going to move down 2 and then to the right 1. If it's in fraction form, it's a little bit easier. 1/2. That means we're going to rise 1 and then to the right 2. Okay, so students are going to be doing that on the next several slides. They're given an equation. They have to find the y-intercept. They have to find the slope. The first point, now they have these movable points that they can place on the graph. So if the y-intercept is 4, then we're going to have a point at 0, 4. That's the point where that line crosses the y-axis. The slope is negative 1. If we write that in fraction form, negative 1 over 1. The rise will be negative 1. Since it's negative, we're going to move down 1 and then to the right 1. Now we've got 2 points. All we need to do is connect them with a straight line. So to do that, students are going to come up here to the line tool. You're going to click on line, and it gives them a line here that has 2 blue circles on each side. So if you click and hold on the blue circle, you can move it anywhere you like. So I'm going to start it approximately here. And then they just click and hold on that blue circle, and then they can move that into place. Now the students can come up here, they can change the color of the line. They can change the thickness of the line, so they can play around with that and make that their own. They're going to do the same thing with the next several slides. They're going to type in the y-intercept. They're going to determine the slope, find the first point, which is at the y-intercept. Here it would be 0, -5. If the slope is 1, then we're going to go to the right, or we're going to go up 1, rise to the right 1. And then they can just place a line through those 2 points. Now we get to slide 16 after they've had some practice. If they're given a line, the equation for a line, and it's not in slope-intercept form, they're going to need to change it to slope-intercept form. So here we have the equation for a line, and to put it in slope-intercept form, we want that x term to be on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So we're going to add 3x to both sides. That gives us y equals 3x -5. So on the next slide, they've got 4 equations. They're going to change them to slope-intercept form by moving these terms around so that the y term is on the left side of the equal sign and the others are on the right-hand side. On the final slide, students are going to be moving these terms into the correct place in sentence frames. So all they need to do is just click and hold on the edge of these, and then they can move them into place. So they're going to move all 4 terms into the correct place. Then they get a little nice work at the end. So this is Digital Lesson Slope-Intercept Form.